But the crazy thing I bought this past week was Night Trap. It's like a famous game. You guys know about this? Have you ever played
Yeah,
Night Trap?
I never played it, but I know what it is.
No.
Yeah, so
Vampires.
Night Trap is it's like an interactive full motion video game. That was like popular in the early '90s. It was originally going to be a Hasbro game because they were thinking about making a home console called the Control Vision, but they eventually canceled that. So this was around like 86, 87. But so Night Trap was actually released in like '92 for the Sega CD, but it's potentially most famous for being one of the video games that faced scrutiny during the 1993 United States Senate committee hearings on violent video games, which is what eventually led to the formation of the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, the ESRB. This was at the same time like Mortal Kombat was being considered controversial because of the gratuitous violence. But Night Trap, sort of the complaint was the aggression towards women on display during the filmed sequences of the game. Now that I play it, it's just like the most PG, like dumb shit ever. I don't know why this was just in that era of like video games are bad. We gotta fucking regulate them and all that shit. But so yeah, this was eventually pulled from retail shelves because it was deemed too controversial. So I've heard it come up in conversations over the years. So it's just always had this like weird stigma around it. I always kind of wondered what it was, but never really looked into it. And I was just scrolling through the Switch store the other day, just like seeing what was on there, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh, Night Trap. I didn't know this was like re-released or whatever. So it came out for like the 25th anniversary, like a couple years ago in 2017. But yeah, I picked it up on the Switch for like $6 and some change. I'm like, this will be a dumb thing that me and my sort of girlfriend can fuck around with because it's just like a 80s like B movie type shit, like the stuff that you would make fun of on like Mystery Science Theater. So it's all like filmed sequences, but yeah, basically you just spend your time like switching between these little cameras. So it's all takes place in like a house where you're like a part of some weird fourth wall breaking military police squad called SCAT, Sega Control Attack Team, that's tasked with surveilling this house because a lot of kids have gone missing here lately. So the gameplay is just essentially switching between these 8 static camera feeds that are just all around the house and trying to trap these weird black suit wearing ninja looking enemies that shamble around like putties from Power Rangers or something, while these like scripted story bits are playing out in the different other rooms and camera feeds. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be funny to just like make fun of this. It'll probably be a pretty simple game, but man, it's just so annoying because you're like frantically switching between all these camera feeds to trigger these traps, and like you're doing it so much that you can't really like stop and take in the story and the dialogue between the characters because there's like constantly these just like enemies like coming in the window and going down the stairs, and like you gotta trap them because if you don't get a certain amount of them at a time, like the game will just reset, like you're not doing your job of surveilling and trapping these people. And so it becomes quite annoying. The game's only about 26 minutes long, so you're like, okay, well, you could probably just play through this real quick. But no, until you like kind of figure out the way to play this game, it's really weird. It seems simple, but it's really weird. And yeah, so I was having a bit of a time like getting through it, and like if you fail, like if you don't capture enough of the enemies, the game starts over, and there's only one checkpoint in the middle. So from like the start till about 13 and some change minutes and seconds, like there's no checkpoints, and then from there to the end there's no checkpoints. So we got pretty far, but we just kept fucking up this last bit of sequences. It just gets so frantic and annoying, and we just like eventually just bounced off of it. But I don't know, it was just a weird thing to like play this sort of weird historical game that was like controversial and like, ooh, Night Trap. And so I was playing it all these years later. It's just, why was this even a thing? And it's just it's a terrible game. I don't know if you could pick it up for something like really cheap and just to see it for yourself. It's kind of funny, but I don't know, not really a game worth recommending or fucking off with.